Last Night from 1998, written and directed by McKellar, is a film that explores an apocalyptic scenario not with scenes of mass destruction, bloodshed, and terror, but through social psychology and black comedy. Set in Toronto at the turn of the millennium and capitalizing on contemporary Y2K anxiety, the film follows a series of interconnected characters who await the end of the world in 6 hours' time due to an ambiguous solar cataclysm. What's ironic, surprising, and quite truthful about the film is that it posits that human behavior wouldn't change much at all in the face of an apocalyptic event, which kind of hits home in 2025. It's a film full of routines, wish fulfillment, social awkwardness, everyday inconveniences.
No, wait! Oh, Jesus. I can't drive standard.
Characters we can recognize from our own families and friend groups playing out the same old arguments and indulging in the same old obsessions. There's a sense of quiet acceptance and simmering anxiety as the different characters try to plan out their last hours as perfectly and personally as they can, most of them trying to avoid thinking about the inevitable at all. A great oldies soundtrack underscores this uneasy, sometimes scary, sometimes funny, sometimes bittersweet emotional atmosphere in an effective juxtapositional way. The film also shows how corporations and the media would predictably respond, capitalizing on the whole thing. A radio station that provides the film with most of its needle drops signs off with the catchphrase, "Staying with you to the end." Director David Cronenberg plays the manager of a gasoline company who is staying late at work, leaving voicemails for every customer, thanking them for their loyalty and assuring them that there won't be service interruptions before midnight. Honestly, this is probably the saddest subplot, watching awkward office space small talk and corpo speak continue unimpeded by pending catastrophe.
Keep up the fight.
Sandra, fittingly played by a young Sandra Oh, is running errands and choosing wines and snacks to go meet her husband for a final romantic evening, with the apocalyptic backdrop serving as an irritating interruption to her grocery run. Patrick, the main character played by McKellar himself, just wants to spend his final hours in reflective solitude, while his mother wants to pretend it's Christmas and host a dinner.
We had to put a skipping rope across the stairs just to keep you from getting at the tree.
Skipping rope.
I'm surprised it's worked.
Now he comes an hour late.
Well, Mom, there are two really good excuses I can think of that maybe you should keep in mind. For one thing, it's not really Christmas today, is it, Mom? And for another thing, it's the end of the world. The world is ending tonight at midnight, and that's kept me pretty occupied lately.
Sarah Polley also shows up in a supporting role as Patrick's sister Jenny, which really makes this whole film a showcase for great Canadian directors who can also act. In a mostly peripheral way, there are looters, there is violence, and there are people celebrating the last 6 hours in a purge-like way, but they aren't really the focus of the narrative.
People want to experience things, and we're all going to die anyway, so...
That gives us all the more reason to be civil.
Seeing my city play itself for a change instead of LA, Detroit, or New York, and seeing it as the setting for a cinematic apocalypse is very cool, though I'll grant this experience probably isn't as novel for non-Canadians. Even if it is almost 30 years old, the film quietly and effectively captures a Toronto I recognize. Urban street scenes, empty highways, and skyscrapers are captured in an elegant, ethereal way in the harsh white light of the encroaching sun. But the film also captures Toronto's character and diversity, and the tug-of-war its inhabitants often face between self-aware solitude and outright loneliness. That last thread is explored most compellingly and touchingly through Sandra and Patrick's relationship, which is the best part of the film. The two are thrown together due to circumstances outside of their control. She wants to find her husband and he wants to be alone, but they ultimately end up providing the exact connection and perspective that the other needs. And their conversations are provocative and intelligently written.
Even when you're with someone else, you're still by yourself, and I don't think that's pathetic. I don't think that's sad. But what I do find sad, and what I do find pathetic, is people who don't know themselves, or people who don't like themselves, and as soon as they hear that the world is ending, they rush out and try and hook up with someone like it was closing time at Studio 54.
Well, I guess I'm not the one to talk to.
I mean, I know in my heart that I'm not in a meaningful relationship right now. I'm not with a woman that I love, and I can deal with that. I just feel that now is not the time to compromise.
There's something to be said for human companionship.
The way the characters all eventually intertwine is quite satisfying in a soft hyperlink way, and without spoiling anything, the film's ending note is beautiful. Last Night won the Award of the Youth Prize at Cannes, as well as Best Canadian Feature Film at TIFF. It is somewhat hard to come by, though it is, for the moment, available uncut on YouTube. A Blu-ray release has been circled for years and is long overdue, though I think there may be some hang-up with rights or materials that's delayed it this long. It's a well-regarded and quietly influential movie that I think has aged like fine wine against the gamut of explosive, effects-driven apocalypse blockbusters. I really enjoy the atmosphere, characters, and performances, and appreciate its sentiments on the importance of human connection of any kind and in any situation, even and especially for people who feel like they're better off without it.